Well, I did my due diligence and we did a non-polemical treatment of the alleged canonical violation with Numenor. But now we're going to get to the fun or not fun stuff with some racist gibberish from Mr. Lyndon, who is associated with Geeks and Gamers. So presumably he's speaking for himself this time. So he's going to try to get himself out of a real weirdo, illogical maze by claiming a lot of things simultaneously, which cannot hold up.
He never wrote. Instead, it's inspired by the author's extensive notes published into the appendices of Lord of the Rings after Amazon closed its multi-million blah blah blah. Because they can't use the Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, History of Middle-earth, which covers all these time periods. So they've got to use just the letters and little pieces that Tolkien wrote and the timeline that Tolkien set out for the First and Second Age in appendices of Lord of the Rings. Despite their relative inexperience, pain.
So the basic gist would be apparently something's wrong with Amazon because black woman, and black woman bad because Silmarillion. But, and this is his assumption by the way, but they can't use the Silmarillion. The description is not relevant. Also, the description doesn't say she's white. We'll put that aside. But apparently his racist interpretation, Muriel be white. But according to you, legally they can't use it. So this is an issue because I don't know. He doesn't really explain, but somehow it's still an issue. Listen, guy, we know the Numenor. Ain't filled with no black woman. And we know this because... How do we know this? Well, according to you. Okay, that's nice. That's not relevant. We can say, okay, let's be generous. I mean, maybe he is really a stickler for the lore. But no, that's not true. That's not true at all.
Last few decades poring over Tolkien's writing and rewatching that beloved Peter Jackson film trilogy, which does have deviations from the book. And the directors and the writers, producers actually explain in the appendices of Lord of the Rings, when you watch the DVDs, why they changed the characters and story arcs from the book to the movie. And it makes sense why they did that. But with this...
So he's okay with the Peter Jackson variations. So it's like Jackson could change things. And, they explain things, in their appendices. Like, wait, the appendices of the books explain the films? I don't know. Oh, no, the appendices of the films. Oh, well, yeah, that's exactly what Tolkien wanted. All adaptations and changes of my notation will be in the Peter Jackson appendices, which I authorized never. Like, why would that be relevant? Well, again, apparently, Peter Jackson changing things is good. Amazon changing things is bad because Jackson respected the books. Okay, he didn't change the race, he didn't change the skin color. He followed the story, but it's like, no, he literally changed race, skin color, the entire story, getting rid of characters, adding new characters, adding endings. He literally deviated a lot from the books. So logically, you have the only defense left that, well, guys, listen, it had the beautiful white people, and I'm happy, and that's the end of it. Well, that would be a racist Nazi standard, and if that is your standard, so be it. What does it have to do with Tolkien? You might say, we're being a little harsh on the boy. Yes, granted, he's taking stupid pills and completely contradicting himself, but come on, I mean, how do we know he's really a racist?
Can really understand. So that's going to be Pharazôn, so he wants more power than he should have. Muriel is aided by her close counsel Pharazôn, played by that guy. Tolkien readers know him as one of the major players in Numenor's eventual downfall, yes. When you see the set of Numenor, it's like you're walking through Pharazôn's mind. When you see these epic statues and this wonderful masonry, you're walking through the mind of a person that's burdened by his own mortality and is very concerned about what legacy he's going to leave behind. So they want to get that character right, sounds like. Fortunately, Numenor...
With Pharazôn, we can trust they are doing the books because white man built statue. I don't trust the representation of Muriel because black woman, she's a queen, which she is canonically. We know that. We know that in the material they can access legally. So your issue is, I don't know. He doesn't really bring much up. And by the way, he is aware of these things because he tells us, don't conflate the two. Don't conflate the two. Okay, there's a difference between antenna politics in the bookies and the external politics in the real world. But you got your ideology of representation. Thank God the Peter Jackson films don't have that. I mean, it's not like they had this thing for the white man, but they gave it to the white woman just to give the white woman audience a bigger role and to give them the agency and appeal to the the crazy feminists. But wait, that did happen. That did happen in the Peter Jackson films. You forgot that. That's fine. Or you're lying about that. That's fine as well, because that's all this is. It's a bunch of racist gibberish nonsense, but you're trying to dress it up as something else. So you're like, okay, I get it. I get the whole nonsense. No, you are caught in a contradiction because it is identical all the way through. They played with the timeline too in the Lord of the Jackson films. They did that. Now you might say, being the most generous, well, there's a difference between playing with a couple years and playing with hundreds of years. That's true, but here's the problem. That ain't in Tolkien. Nowhere did he say, hey, I'll authorize Peter Jackson to change my timeline. He didn't say that. He didn't say that at all. Your standard is they should follow, I guess they should follow the Geeks and Gamers racist guide to adapting Tolkien that never was written and that Tolkien never consulted and that Peter Jackson even did not consult. We've gone a very long way to saying, oh, I don't like these Amazons. Oh, I don't like this black woman. I don't like it at all. That's nice. Do we have any rational principle to not like it? No. So we're just left with, guys, I'm going to be labeled a phobinist, but why? Because you are? Oh, I'm just a true Tolkien fan. That's why I love the Peter Jackson film so much. Okay. I mean, definitely the ship has sailed and the damage is done. Clearly in their brains. Many Tolkien fans now define themselves as Tolkien fans if they've seen the Peter Jackson films. And there's no ever talking to them. They will always say, oh, I saw the Peter Jackson films. I know my Lord of the Rings. And you say, oh, you mean the books? No, no, no. I mean the films. The films are the books and the books are the films. That's just how it is. You got to deal with that. All right. I want my beautiful white people, and that's just all there is to it. It's like, okay, yeah, that is all there is to it. But I thought we were going to be doing something on Tolkien. So I got to say, beyond being racist, it's being a little fallacious in terms of being about the subject matter. It seems it's about him and his fantasies about what Tolkien is on about. But no, nothing to do much with Tolkien. But just on a final note, if he actually did some real research into the Silmarillion, he'd know that Numenor, it's based on Egypt. Now, would you see a African American queen necessarily? Maybe not. But would you see lily white people all over the place in Numenor? Well, if Egypt is the real world parallel, maybe, but also maybe not.